is Polenicus. I am here aboard the Ina. We've set out again. Actually, I'm going to rotate this so I can take advantage of some of that sunlight here. The wrong way, I think. Yeah. I'm going to rotate to take advantage of some of the sun. And you can see we're turn that off. We're out in space again. The Ina is we're continuing on our journey. And I've already found first couple of finds, and there's some new stuff in here that I haven't heard of before. So we're going to go check that out. I'm going to grab some uranium to go and power it up. I've already found this stuff and claimed it because one of them had some active weaponry because it had some solar panels and such, and so I wanted to be careful. So we're just going to angle here. You notice I've managed to turn the fog back off again. This required you can't do it through the mods don't work for doing it anymore. You have to use the whole method of actually changing some entries in some of the files. It's not very difficult to do, and it's not necessarily for everyone because it can impact your frame rate, I think. I don't know if it's had all that much of an impact on me. I don't know, but honestly, it looks so much better this way that I'm willing to take the hit. And you've also noticed that Ina's still sporting the modular doors. I'm waiting to see if the mod creator. I'm probably if the mod itself is not updated to incorporate the changes in the new doors that Keen just released, I'm probably going to swap them out. Though it's not really a priority for me to make my base pressurizable. It wasn't really ever a issue. But then again, vanilla blocks are always going to work better. And that's always the thing to strive for, is if you can do it with vanilla, it's always been my belief that you do it. If you can do it with vanilla blocks, do it with vanilla blocks. If you notice, the Pathfinder there is all the armor ramps. I believe I said that is, but all the armor ramps on that one are all vanilla blocks rather than the Uncle Steve stuff, because I wanted to wean myself off of using those for the time. There are still some blocks in the Uncle Steve's set that aren't replicatable with the vanilla blocks, but I expect that'll probably change. And now that the vanilla blocks can be used on small ships, they're pretty much going to be my go-to. Okay, so let's grab some uranium, and we are going to see what we can see here. Okay, so let's get going. On our way. I do have a horrible temptation to go through and refit the ship to accommodate those new things. Also, I have another refit to do in that Darth Biomech has updated his docking ring blocks, whereas previously, now this is the grandfather one that I have in the unit right now, it's one single piece that just you can pass through it in the center, but it's basically a single block. It doesn't allow oxygen to flow through it, and it has problems with doing connection, which is why I have the merge block up there. He's updated it so it's actually a group of 6 blocks put together into a ring. Merges together much better, grabs onto, because it's basically 6 separate merge blocks now, and it allows oxygen to pass through, and you can even put lights in there if you want. The downside is the reason why I haven't swapped it out yet, is I did some of that with the other ship that I was docking at Civil Station before I left, the Explorer, and every time I tried to dock, the docking rings basically obliterated themselves, and a lot of blocks around them. It looks like the hitbox of them is too big, so that even before they're getting in range to connect with each other, they're in range to cause damage to each other, and they just crumble. And they just self-destruct. And it's like not just self-destructing the merge blocks, but it was getting the blocks like a couple of blocks behind them were being destroyed. This was before they had even gotten to the point of being able to merge. so something is not right with them. I'm going to give them a little bit of development cycle on them to try and sort them out. I expect you'll probably get them working pretty soon. He also had to convert all the other blocks to individual pieces, which works better with the game engine. It's just a bit of a pain to have to place them all now, because now, rather than placing one block and going bang, 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 you have to place 6 individual blocks. Okay, this is one of the first ships that I found here. This is a little exploration ship, which is kind of cool. Is my dampers actually on? Yeah, they are. Okay, it's just unflagged. This is actually kind of cool. It's a boat. It's definitely a boat. But I think it's called a research ship. It's a nifty little find, and it's relatively well armed too. So I'm going to hop inside and that's right. There's no gravity, and we're going to pop some uranium in this thing. And the conveyor should be working because it does have. It does have solar panel power, which is not enough to run all the stuff, but it's enough to get the conveyors working. As you can see by the green lights, the conveyors are active. So if I pop uranium in a container here, it should pipe it right into the reactor and get this thing fired up. Or reactors, I don't know how many this thing actually has, but okay. This is fun without gravity. There you go, power up. Now we got some gravity. Okay. So it's a small ship. It's compact, but it's nice. Let's take a look at it. So it's down at the below decks, where the mid bay is. Of course, you know, space is kind of at a premium here, so stuff has to share a lot of space. There's the grav generator, there's the mid bay, there's all the other stuff. I wonder where those other reactors aren't. Pulling uranium. Manually redistributed. Some of these are not conveyed up properly. This is like this whole completely separate system. Some of the stuff is not connected. Okay, so that's probably just an error. You know, trying to use refineries as part of your system is kind of a pain when you're positioned to figure out where the doors are, just because it's hard to see. Okay, so that's below decks. It's actually the main deck of the ship here. The front, large container, obviously not containing any uranium. Check out the front of the ship. I mean, yeah, this of the two things that I found, this is the one that I think is the nicest. I mean, this is the thing that would I think fits in the balance that they intended for derelict ships. I mean, and it would be such a great thing for you to be able to find if you were in a survival game. Without it being ridiculously overpowered. It's like you get this, you got a nice, you know, ship to explore around in. But there's still a lot of room for improvement and working on it and such, because, you know, one assumes you're going to want to take auxiliary ships with you, and you're going to want to do other things. So now I'm going to move this over here, because the other thing I found here is the station. Not as enthused by the station. Just because the station, there's nothing wrong with it. That's kind of bland, though. It looks like it had some sort of telescoping system on the bottom of it, but, you know, pistons and everything. Pistons make everything horrible, and so whatever was on the end of the head of the piston is missing. Or more accurately, it was never spawned in along with the rest of the ship. Okay, so we're almost back. We're almost down here at the station. I'm just going to park this thing next to the station here. And unlike some of the other ones, this would actually be a really good find, because I mean, that much glass, I mean, you're always hurting for glass, for silicon, and that would just be like, yes.
Yes!
Yes. Do so much with all that. Just the glass makes you happy. And it also comes with this little utility ship, which again would be a useful thing. So it appears to be shut off, so I'm going to see if we can turn back on, just to link it back on. So float off, don't bump, don't bump, don't bump. That's locked down. That's just a little, it's just a little tiny ship. Single welder on the front of it. Don't know how useful this thing would be. I guess if you got no other construction ships, it would be a construction ship. Get you through. And then you got these big rooms here, and they're all empty. There doesn't appear to be anything much of substance in this place. And then if we go down underneath, I admit I've been a little bit spoiled by some of the stuff people have put out. Like that one asteroid base that well, I mean, some of the stuff in the derelict finding stuff, some of it is really, really good. Some of it's junk. Some of it is impractical. The Cookie Monster pins the needle at the far side of being practical, just because it has pistons and such in it, and they're just not stable, not workable. Especially in a multiplayer world. Now, this there where there would be a piston, I don't know what this would open up. I guess probably just like a bay door or something. But it didn't survive the transition into being created. So, whatever. So, this is something. I don't even know. Okay. So this is where we can get back up and everything. So I give you, it's nice, bright, and open. I can't argue that, and I can't argue that this kind of room here I like. It just feels a little bit empty. Now, Space Engineers doesn't have really anything in the way of furniture, but, you know, you would hope that eventually they'll add some of that kind of stuff in. There's timer blocks all over the place. Doesn't appear to be a self-destruct or anything, because that would suck for me. It's mid-bay. Yeah, this is pretty basic. If I would have suggested if the owner could do this again, it would be to round off some of the edges at least, and see if there's something you can fill in here for interest's sake, because otherwise it's so very empty. But anyway, so I'm gonna call it there right now. I'm gonna go grind down these things. I don't need them. I don't need them both. I just need you know, their materials basically, their resources. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. Because otherwise I'm just gonna end up leaving them out here in space, and they're not cool enough to really warrant that. They're not like the explorer levels of cool. Alright, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. See ya! Hello YouTube, it's Polenicus again, and I'm just here because I found something else in exploration that I haven't seen before, so I was going to explore it with you. And I'm not recording my audio separately. I've been trying for the last couple of clips that I've done on this to record my audio separately, just because I wanted to. Yeah, thank you for that save thing pops up. I really do hope they fix that soon. I'm recording it separately because, well, I just blew all my air out into space. That's great. Close. Actually, no, I probably didn't, because these are still the old style Darth Biomech docking clamps. Okay, we're going to start off. There's lots of stuff to cover here. First off, while we're here, we might as well cover it. Darth Biomech has updated these docking clamps for those of you who are interested in them. The old style is he's left it in the mod as a legacy piece, but you can no longer build it. The old style was a single piece, and its problem is that it had difficulty latching on because it was basically a merge block with the core pulled out, and that made it very difficult to line it up properly. So I used a regular merge block to line it up. And I've used them all over the ENA. He's replaced it, and of course the problem is since it was a single block, air wouldn't pass through it. So rather than go to all the trouble of defining the block using the hollow block mechanics that are for the passageway type blocks and everything, he just completely redid it, and it's now 6 separate blocks. Each segment of it is a separate block, so you basically are actually placing 6 blocks all the way around. So of course there's no issues with the oxygen because it just passes through, and they're defined as airtight blocks. So you can blow your stuff out into space, and actually you can pressurize it. You can even put like a little light in there if you wanted, because it's a valid place to put a light. So you won't need that anymore. And I've tested them, and they do work like you've got 6 merge blocks there. Now the downside being is that that's a lot of pull, and they do seem a little bit fragile at the moment. I've left him a line there to let him know about that they do seem kind of fragile, and that their collision mesh seems to be awfully large. In a situation like this, if I was trying to dock in here with this stuff this close, this would all be getting damaged, which really shouldn't be happening. I may just have been the configuration I was using. I was trying to dock an Explorer that I found. I'll experiment with it a little bit more before I rip out the old ones, because I can't replace the old ones once they're gone, and some of them are integral to the structural integrity, in particular, namely the ones that are back here. And if these are going to have a problem with me redocking and everything, I would rather stick with the old ones. Though, even though I can't replace those. Okay, and secondly, one of the things that sort of cropped up, so I was watching Vex's channel, and Vex has an excellent Space Engineers channel, where he was talking about... Oh, are you kidding me? Did it despawn? It despawned, didn't it? Because I found it on my other computer, and then I switched to this one so I could record. Well, I'm an idiot. Okay, well, back into the ship then. Okay, so I did a dumb, I did a stupid. No big deal. It happens. I'm gonna back up It's going to turn around, back up, and it should respawn again, right? But yeah, Vex's channel. One of the things he's commenting on is that he's basically going to stop doing it because he's run out of stuff to do. Now he was basically going hardcore survival in that he had meteors on and everything, and he had to get through with that. He does have a few mods on there, but he was mostly mechanics wise he was going with vanilla. And he got to the point where he was not only doing well, he was basically thriving, and it's like, well, there's no more challenge left. I think that's one of the problems that runs into this game, and I see this a lot with like Minecraft Let's Players as well, is that once they get to a certain point, well, there's no more challenge left. There's nothing that really threatens them in the game. There's nothing that really is difficult. And to be fair, I am at that point. There's really nothing that threatens me in this game. I have a gigantic flying mobile base that is can more or less handle, like, even that huge glitch that ripped holes in my ship and destroyed all my auxiliary ships and everything like that. I recovered from that in a few days. I upgraded and I continued on my way. It was not a big deal. I think in a game like this you have to figure out your own challenges. You have to figure out your own purpose in this. My purpose in this wasn't really for the challenge, because I know there isn't a lot of challenge. It was mostly to continue the development of my ship, refine it as I went along, and to find some of the cool stuff that other people have built. So I'm mostly interested in finding what other people have built out here in exploration mode. So if you people are saying it's like, there's not enough challenge, not enough danger or whatever like that, well, yeah, you're right. If you would like me to make it a little bit more dangerous, now I am playing on a multiplayer server. I haven't got anyone else playing with me. I have several ideas as to how to basically continue on. Either I can try and get some other people in to play with me, as get a crew together, and I could try and make this more like some of the other Let's Plays where there's more of a RP element to it. There's more of a sort of a machinima storyline type stuff going on, more like sort of a red versus blue thing, and just some sort of more scripted out stuff. So we would have a situation where we would have some people coming on and attacking and having to fend them off and stuff like that. I don't have a crew currently, so yeah. So yeah, I might not ever get to that point. I could, just sort of back off on the playing. I don't really want to, though. I'm not really done yet, until essentially until Keen starts releasing AIs, and I expect that's not going to be too long before they do. Some people have noted that, and Vex noted this, is that they're spending a lot of time in medieval engineers, and they're kind of miffed because they're spending all this time, getting AI going in medieval engineers, and we haven't seen any of it here in space engineers. But you have to understand that, beneath the hood, these two games are essentially running on the same engine, and what works on one can be very easily migrated over to the other one. Hence the fact that hence the announcement that we're going to be getting planets in space engineers, because now that they've figured out all that stuff in medieval engineers, they can migrate it over. So the fact that they're working on AI in medieval engineers, AI is vastly more important to making medieval engineers something workable and something playable than it is in space engineers, because in space engineers you can kind of get away with just having the things drifting with auto turrets. So my thought is that essentially once they got the AI less buggy and working better in medieval engineers, we're going to start seeing that stuff coming out in space engineers. And we have been getting a lot of good stuff in space engineers. We got the oxygen update, which was everyone had been asking for, and then we got those great hangar bay doors, which I I probably am going to refit the Ina to use. Um, I'm I have to wait and see if the mod creator who's created my existing hangar bay doors, if they update their mod to be airtight or not. If they do, then I'm just going to leave them in place because aesthetically they actually work. They work better than the Keen ones because they gives that kind of blends in nicely. If not, then I'll swap them out. But yeah, I think this game you have to sort of figure out your own stuff to do, and a lot of let's players who are still playing do that. Like Aaron, Last Stand Gamers, they do the occasional scripted event, and they have goals for themselves. Like their current goal is they have to build sort of this deep space exploration ship. Um, Although they've been spending an awful lot of time developing that base of theirs, which I admit is a nice base. Um, and and occasionally they do have their scripted events, like that one where the Henry Mark II crashed. And they had to go salvage it, and they had to fight off the drones and stuff. And I'd like to do stuff like that, so I have to find some people to actually want to do it with me, honestly. But I think that would be a lot of fun to do. And there comes to my last piece of last announcement, last thing I wanted to say while I'm cruising in deep space here. I got into the dogfighting league, the Avro Arrow. My fighter design did in fact make it in, and it was accepted. And if you go to Aaron's channel, and I'll link the video, you'll see the lineup of all the fighters that did make it in. Now there is some people who have been grumbling controversy as to some designs that were expected to make it in didn't. And I do know I am incredibly fortunate that I did get in there because there is some stiff competition in there. And it's actually quite humbling that of all the designs that they received, mine was one of the 16 that was selected. And that's a huge thing for me. That's a huge confidence booster. But at the same time, now I got to see if my piloting skills are up to snuff. I'll also link in the videos that show me basically in the testing phases where Zarin and Nell helped me out with testing out the arrow and piloting it around, and just testing out to make sure that stuff didn't blow off of it when you fired the rocket launcher, or that it maneuvered the way I expected it to. So hopefully that will. I'm really hoping that I do well in that. I don't want to be washed out in the first round. I want to go. I would love to go all the way. I think my fighter is good enough to go all the way. Looking at the competition in there, there's a couple in there that concern me as far as difficulty in taking them out. But I think my fighter, just the engineering on my fighter is sound. I think the engineering of my fighter is solid. I've pitted it up against a few other things. I've pitted it up against NPC ships. I pitted it up against live players, and I think it's. I think it does. I think the fighter itself is sound. It's basically going to come down to my flying skills, how well I can make use of that. So we were going to have to see how well I can do with that. I'm really looking forward to it, though. I'm really looking forward to that. So I don't know if you guys are excited for me as well. Leave a comment in the leave something in the comments. Just let me know that you're supporting me, and I really hope I can make you guys proud. I know this is silly. It's just a little online competition, but hey, we'll see how well we do. As for my plays here, I know I don't have very many subscribers yet, but I'm gonna hope I can. I'm just gonna throw this out here. I'm gonna start doing this every video. If anyone out there who has Space Engineers would like to join me, I'm on a server. I would love to have company. I would love to have someone else crewing on the ship. I would love to have someone else have some suggestions as to how to direct the voyages of the Inalona, um, or if they would like to suggest, like if people want me to start flying around with meteors on, I can take this game file and I can put it offline. I can basically migrate the ENA to a new world, and I can fall through a wormhole. I think is the way people tend to do it in Space Engineers Let's Plays. But I can take the ENA to a new world, and I can turn on the meteors and basically see how well I can survive in a situation where I have to be constantly moving and constantly defending myself. And I can put in the invader script so that I'm under attack. And if you'd like to see me in a more hectic situation like that, I can absolutely do that. So just leave me a comment and let me know. For now, until after the Dogfight League um, competition is done, I'm going to leave things as they are. I don't want to. I want to be able to focus on that. I don't want to have to split my attention on that. I'm still going to do this, but I want to make sure that I am focused on that primarily. But I would be absolutely okay with doing that. I know that the server admin doesn't really want to turn on meteors on this server because I am sharing this with other people, because it tends to erode the asteroids, and a lot of the bases and such aren't set up to defend themselves against that. So if I do that, I'm going to need to go to a separate world. I want to keep the ENA though, because I know a lot of other people have started over. I would rather try something different of seeing how I can make romping around in a big explorer interesting. Um, that being said, if a lot of people say ditch the ship, then I will ditch the ship. I would rather, if I have to ditch the ship, I'd rather there be something that causes me to ditch the ship. I would rather there be an incident or something, some scripted event or something, or I would rather there be a situation where it's not 100% guaranteed I'm going to lose the ship, but that's how it ends up going. But I'm attached to this, so that's me. Star Trek had the Enterprise. A lot of these space operas uh, have their ships as characters, and I feel that this ship is a character. And if I go the route of doing more scripted stuff, and if I get more people on here who want to do scripted stuff, then absolutely this ship is going to be a character, and that's just the way I want to do it. Anyway, so what I was originally planning on doing and checking out that ship, that's not going to happen. That ship went away. Hopefully it'll respawn, because it wasn't one I had seen before. It was a green one. I should have gone on board it and captured it before I logged out, but I keep forgetting that. At any rate, I will continue on my journey, and thank you very much for all of you who have supported me, and especially thank you for Zarin and Nell for helping me out with getting into the dogfighting league, and I hope I can do well. And I will talk to you guys all later. Signing off.